Three, two, one, and we're live. Welcome to a morning GM Q&A with our friends, uh, Mr. GM Eric, Mr. Solid10, DM John, and GM Ghost at Group Action Roll. Good morning, everyone. Oh, Mr. Group Action Roll. I like that. It's Action Roll. Group Action Roll. Mr. Roll to you. Oh my god, I love that. So yeah, let's get into it. First question we have is, I just had what? Here, I pull it up on a stupid my brain. My morning brain, everybody. All right. What has changed since last time we talked? Gotcha. Thank you for that. So who'd like to start? What has changed since last time we talked? Okay. I use my metal dice. Whoever goes first, self-promos first. So we'll do it. All right. I'll go. I'll be. What's this? Here, a D4. John, you're first. Yes. You may answer the question. I'm thinking more like two. Oh,
You can't hear me?
thank you.
I can
You
hear
should
you
be
still
fine.
10.
Oh, I
Maybe
just
not
got
on
a
the
phone
Oh
stream.
call.
no.
Alright, it looks fine.
You can see my little box lighting up. I'm like,
Okay, they say that you can now.
Now they can.
Yeah,
Now
no.
I can't hear Fargrim.
No, I muted
Oh, there we go.
myself
There we go.
just to make sure you guys. No, yeah, you're fine now. I'm sorry.
Did you have me muted?
I think so.
Oh,
I have this problem.
He's just so used to hitting the mute.
shut up, John. Click the button. So yeah, I'm John, Solid10D&D. Fridays, every week. So yeah, it's been like a hot minute since I've done one of these. So what's changed since then? Well, we finished our first campaign, which ran for about, I think it was 3 years. It started as a play-by-post, and then we went to just doing voice. And then Roddy joined us, and he was a streamer, and he was like, "Hey, we should stream it." And I'm like, "Okay." So at session 32, we started streaming it, and we streamed it up until just this past June. So that campaign finished. I think session 82 was the last one, and it was 14 hours long. It was a marathon. Didn't plan it to be that long, but we did it. It was fun and sad, but also fun. So in the meantime, since that's finished, we've started running lots of one-shots. Hal ran a mini-series, Mage Wars of Mechanus, which was pretty good. And we're starting to build a new world with all these one-shots that the next campaigns will take place in. It's pretty fun. I guess that's all that's changed.
That's
Might
a
remember
lot.
something later after you guys talk. It's hard to go first, especially in the morning.
Right. Up
I rolled a
next,
15 earlier, by the way.
we'll use that later for your next skill check. Up next is Ghost.
I rolled a 3 for looking
Cool.
at initiative order. Hi everybody. My name is Pete. People call me Ghost. My channel is Ghostlight on YouTube. You can find me at ghostlight.digital as our website. I also stream TTRPG Material Undergroup Action Roll right here on Twitch and probably some other places. I've changed the names so many times I forget what's what now. I stream Daggerheart content every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We are halfway through our 36 session campaign right now. Yesterday, just this morning even, was the official halfway mark. We did a one shot. I do other kind of content as well over on YouTube here and there. But mostly we're focusing on this TTRPG content. This world has been sort of built since we last talked, the world of Arendor. I think the last time I was in one of these, I was specifically doing D&D adjacent No Man's Sky content. So I guess a lot has changed. I think I hadn't actually GM'd an actual real, not made up TTRPG. Now I have done just a bunch. So we did some D&D in the early days of this world, through a series of one shots, and then I just changed over to Daggerheart last April for the first campaign. We finished that campaign in December. We started a new campaign in I'm sorry, that was August for the first campaign. We started a new campaign in this past April, and we've been going strong ever since. So much has changed. So many lessons have been learned, and here I am, better for it. Not tired at all.
Eric, if you would.
Sure. I'm GM Eric. I'm a full-time professional GM. I do this for a living. This is my employment. I stream 8 games a week, and I do a 9th private game on Sunday evenings once a month. I run on Sundays at 10 a.m. Central, Mondays at 7 p.m., Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m., Wednesdays at 8 p.m., Friday at 11 a.m. and at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 10 a.m., and Saturdays at 7 p.m. We stay really, really busy. We have been thriving. We have an amazing community. Our last openings filled in 14 seconds, which is a blessing. I have absolutely amazing players across the board. Can't speak highly enough of them. Just super blessed. Since the last time we talked, we jumped from doing 6 campaigns to 9, which is a lot. And we stay really busy. We just surpassed 2,300 episodes since starting doing this full time. And we stay really, really busy here at GME. I now have 2 employees that we pay on a part-time basis. They're great. The Covet and Elena. If you've not come and hung out with us in our chats, we have Elena as our moderator and Covet's our logistics specialist. She handles all of what I do, and she tells me when I'm supposed to be where and what I'm supposed to be doing there. It's a really cool community. We've expanded our world from a small continent, and we are going to increase the size of our world by 800% here in the next couple weeks. We have been expanding to Ivoa for a ton of time. We recently ended a campaign that had spanned 213 episodes, and a second campaign that spanned 142, another one that was 80 episodes in. So we stay really busy. It's been a lot of fun, and we've had some amazing players come through. It's great. Life is wonderful.
And I thought I was ambitious. God damn, Eric. That's awesome, dude.
I want to do this too. That sounds like
You are
it
our
sounds like the kind of
motivation
work I like.
booster. For real.
Work-life balance is a trick, but when you've got amazing players like we have here in the GME community, it's a blessing and a thrill to just be able to come in and create content for them and make sure that they're having the best time possible.
Absolutely. Our players are always come first.
So I have a random question before we continue,
Sure.
Fargrim. Eric, with all those games that you run, what does your prep look like?
Uh, Usually we try to prep so that we have content about a month ahead. So we try to have we create a whole bunch of content where we've got pre-generated NPCs that I go through and I'm like, okay, we need to have a village. And so I've got a couple people that we bounce ideas off of, or my players will send me, hey, I've got this idea for this nation. And they'll send me, and I'm not kidding here, 39 pages, like 40,000 words of this is a nation that I thought up. Here you go, Eric. Have this. And I'm like, okay, sweet. I've got this nation, and we go and we explore the nation. We create some NPCs for them. I've got this whole framework. I've got a random name list for NPCs. We pull it up when they arrive at that various cities or villages. We've got roles. We've got lists of taverns and lists of societies, and then we just mix it all together and we take tons of notes. We also have
Roll
a
tables
transcript.
and on roll
Yeah, tons
tables
of
kind of thing.
tables. We don't do roll tables. I don't like rolling them. I like picking them out and being like, that one matches this name. Let's go with that,
I got you.
etc. So,
Okay,
but
cool.
it's tables. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do that, we take very close notes. We have been posting all our episodes over on YouTube, and YouTube has a cool transcription service down at the bottom of it in the more section. So we take the transcriptions and we save all the transcriptions of our episodes, and we can actually scrub those using AI to gather the information. Be like, okay, who was mentioned here? It gets all the spellings wrong, so don't trust it, but it allows us to pull stuff out of the notes, and we do recaps. And the recaps are a new thing we've been doing about a year now, where we do a weekly recap for each of the campaigns. And it's AI assisted, but we have to rewrite the whole thing. It just gives us a basic framework of what's happened, and then we rewrite it so that it actually makes sense and gets the spellings right. It's
What
fun.
happens when the party kind of goes like a little off the rails in a direction you didn't plan? Because it's all in a shared world. Is it at the same time too? Like I know it's Toivoa. It's
Yep.
happening kind of at the same time.
Yeah, it's all happening at the same time. We've had interactions where one campaign will be in the same city as another, and we'll actually have players come in to the session and RP with each other with their characters, which is really cool to do, having these
Cool.
crossovers where we have a character come in, dump information on the other group, and then leave. And they're only there for 5-10 minutes, but they get this cool interaction moment and then they leave. But yeah, it's mostly in the same time frame. One of the groups, and I'm not going to say which one of the groups is about a month ahead of the rest, and there's a reason for that, and they will discover that eventually. But the rest of the groups are all running concurrently. It's really
Cool.
it's a lot to keep track of, but I find it easier to keep track of one game state across the entire world as opposed to 9 game states. So it makes it easier for me.
Cool. Sorry to derail with my questions there,
Oh,
Fargrim.
good.
I was
No,
just
you're
genuinely
fine.
curious. Kind of
Right.
popped in my head. I figured I'd ask.
I run a very similar note-taking method, and the way that I get around the issue of misspellings is I create a markdown file of all NPCs that we encounter, correct it once, upload it as the source, and then ask it to check against your source. So auto corrects all of the.
You may have to do that. It's a good tip.
I do that
love
with
learning
like
stuff.
everything.
My grandfather used to say before he died that the day you stop learning is the day you die. And so I'm always open to learning new things.
Especially with how quickly things come out
Yeah,
these days.
absolutely. How about you, Fargrim? What have you been up to?
A lot of things. Well, I'm Fargrim. I GM over here at Fargrim the Barbarian, co-owner of Dark Raven Voyages. I recently finished a campaign for the first time. My feudal Asian campaign, Chewing's Fated Few. That was like a almost a year-long campaign that I'm making a source book for. Similarly to like Ravenloft or any other campaign setting, like Witchlight, it's going to be its own third-party publishing. So I'm trying to work that angle in this field, I guess. My own publishing company, gaming company.
Cool.
Yeah. Um,
We need to
recently,
talk. I'm looking for a print layout person.
oh dude, it's all in my head, and most of the time I can't sleep because I'm thinking about this shit. Honestly, like it's either prep or my other job, but recently I transitioned to Daggerheart, and instead of focusing on the classical European mindset of fantasy, like we mostly get drawn into from D&D and things like that, I'm doing historical fantasy, but pre-revolutionary America. So the most of the people there are going to be Native American-esque people. Uh, the party and the party and like a handful of people are refugees. So it's going to be very interesting to see undeveloped cities and different types of settlements, especially in the Daggerheart world. I think Daggerheart really retextured the wheel, and it's fun to play with.
I like
Yeah,
the role play potential with Daggerheart. I feel like oftentimes, even in D&D, it's like, oh yeah, maybe we should roll some dice and just get to role playing and doing the game, and it's like, oh yeah, there are dice in this game. Maybe we should actually do that. That's kind of, I feel like
yeah,
Daggerheart is less role for RP, I guess, as D&D can be sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. I think that if you've got the right group for it, Daggerheart is a superior product. It
yes.
just requires the right group, and it requires people who are comfortable with being open. And I think that that's a compliment to y'all's group. Is while D&D is more mainstream and easier to get into, I find Daggerheart is a superior product for people who are comfortable role playing.
I think it's all pretty much just like sort of shooter specific, right? Like the thing that the uh the one that you're comfortable with is the one that you're gonna feel the most at
Exactly.
ease with. So maybe
Yep.
if you're comfortable with D&D, you're more inclined to role play. Maybe coming into any new system might feel a little bit overwhelming. But one thing I really like about Daggerheart, it was just the openness of it, the idea that like, and again, arguably you can do this with D&D, right? You probably a lot of people do do this with the D&D, but just like putting that shared narrative on the party and having them develop things and when I started our current campaign, I sort of developed a structure, and the things that have come up since then have just been I don't even know if I could have anticipated where the story has gone based on where we started. I'm like trying to keep them on the rails to get to where I wanted to end, but like it could go either way.
Yeah.
Like they just got airships, or they're about to get airships, so they could just say screw it and go do whatever.
Airships throw a wrench into a lot of things. Just
Like we're
saying.
gonna go over here.
Yeah, we've recently grounded 2 of the airships in our campaign setting just because we needed to do so, and so we did so through fuel shortages. So
That's a good one.
they had them, but they're so rare that fuel's hard to find.
That's
It's Fargrim's group, so I assume that he's just gonna probably be reckless and destroy the thing in the process of doing whatever they're doing. So we'll see.
Sir, I've never been reckless at all with my character, or destroyed any sort of church bell for no reason. But no, this is a great segue into what new things we're trying out in our games, because I'm sure we have. Like, for the example of airships, in my game, in well, I guess there's three things I could talk about. I made an ever-changing key that opens doors in a specific order. So let's say the party finds the first and third door, but they can't open the third door without finding the second. So in this first room, they find this submersible airship. So it can also fly, and it's also a submarine.
It's like an Avengers helicarrier
Right.
thing.
So
Cool.
I let the players choose their three favorite marine animals. So it's like a chimera ship. We have the head of it as a sailfish, the body of an eel, and the tail end of a jellyfish. So imagine the jellyfish hanging out like this, the eel body, and then the uh, fish fin and the spear as the nose of this thing. So I thought it
Think
was
of
pretty
nightmares.
cool. Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, the civilization was like Mayan vampire worshippers. So they have, of course, this weird ancient technology. And so that's my airship. The third thing I'm actually very proud of is a sentient book that eats other books and magical paper. And then, once poor rest or long rest, it can recite said information. In keeping all this, feeding this thing books because it literally has an appetite for paper, because it is a cannibalistic grimoire. So it kind of feeds it into itself, and it's its own bag of holding and spell book, all in one. But yeah, um, that and trying new player agency tactics, getting them more involved in the game. That's newer things that I've been trying out. Let's go with Derek. What new things have you been trying out?
New things we've been trying out. We developed some new code in order to enhance our PNG avatars at the bottom of our screen because we use avatars instead of cameras for player privacy. We got some new code that allows us to not have the avatars jump around when someone joins and leaves, which is fun. But that's been established. We've been doing some underwater stuff because our Toivoan Sea Dogs are playing into Siren lore in Toivoa. That's on Friday mornings, so they are going to be doing some underwater combat and underwater encounters. We had them fight a sperm whale this week. We've got more coming for them, and we're going to do a ton of Subnautica style things. It's going to be a lot of fun there. We've also done some necromantic battle mech stuff in our On Death's Door stuff. We had a blackguard that ran away, got into a necromantic ashen hoarder, and came back to charge the party. They dealt with it really well. They got it under control. But we've got a variety of vehicles and cool technology there. We've got some new magic items that we're using. We've got some new spells that we're trying out and expanding on. We recently offered a new feat to our players called the Boundless Imagination of Meg, which is based off of one of our players who likes to simply come up with off-the-wall ideas that we should not do. And if you take the feat, which is just a free feat for anyone who wants to take it, the GM has to listen to your off the wall idea and then reject it outright. So we absolutely don't have to do what is said, but we do have to listen to the entire pitch once per session. So we give them the
Amazing.
boundless imagination of Meg so that they can just spout off this random idea. And it's based off of one of my players, Meg, who's been playing with me for 6.5 years. And she just comes off with this weird idea of, let's do this thing. It's not in the rules. It's not going to fit. It's going to break the story. But we'll listen. We'll listen and we'll smile and nod. And the GM can't interrupt during your discussion if you invoke the feat, which is a fun way to just let them come up with this off the wall idea, wax eloquent, and have a good time. We've been doing a lot of really fun things. We started doing some character lineup mugs as celebrations for end of campaigns. We've got some new shirts and stuff over at gmark.com. We've got a lot going on. It's really exciting to have so many things coming up. The recaps are a thing that are super popular because it allows people to go through and check what happened last week. Or we don't have time to watch 8 episodes of GMR content per week. Let's just get a synopsis so they can read through the synopsis, which is about 2,000 characters each week. And so it gives the people who don't have time to watch everything an ability to keep up with what's going on in the world as a whole. And it builds the community. It's really neat to see how people start interacting with that and being able to have rivalries and friendships and share lore across campaigns. It's a good way to do that. We also started a book nook in our Discord where people can discuss what they're reading and writing and have a bit of community building there. It's not a book club, it's just a corner where our community can enjoy discussing various things. Other than that, we have a battle royale coming up very soon, and it's going to be a fun PvP event. So, tons of stuff going on. It's exciting. But you guys.
Yeah, I mean, new things for me at least. So last night we ran a one shot into this morning. That was sort of a zero prep line one shot. I didn't tell the players what it was about. And it was all in service of the Daggerheart Open Fear expansion, which came out yesterday. And the reason for it wasn't to be clever. It was because the materials weren't going to be available on Demiplane until that morning. So they weren't able to make characters using that new material through Demiplane until that morning. Now, a lot of us have the book already, the hard book or the PDF. But so, we brought them on, asked for volunteers as players. We got a bunch, but we ended up choosing 5. Give the little bit of a synopsis and then have them just start making characters live. And I just sort of like sat back. I gave them 5 minutes. What I think it ended up coming out to almost like 11, I think, Fargrim.
Mm-hmm.
And I let them pay me in fear to get additional time, which worked out in my favor, at least a little bit. And then we just went with it, and we just sort of ran through some of the environments that are in the new book, and ended up taking like a little over, I think, 6 hours, but it was a lot of fun. That's one new thing we just tried. Personally speaking, like our first campaign was like very, very rushed. We had a very short amount of time to do a pretty big adventure. So we didn't get a lot of chance to do a lot of exploring different locations, right? Like we'd hit and we'd move and we hit and we'd move. Really, really fast paced, really big divine adventure. This campaign that we're doing now is a little bit smaller in scope, at least it has been for the last 18 sessions. So one new thing that I've been doing is just through feedback from my players, I've just been creating just NPC after NPC after NPC and throwing them at my players and seeing which ones they like and seeing which ones they ultimately kill, or see destroyed or don't save or whatever they do. That's been a lot of fun. What else have we done that's kind of new? I mean, those are probably the biggest things. the whole thing is still kind of new to me. I'm running 2 teams, which is new for me. I do it similarly, Eric. It's the same time span. They're all involved in the same adventure through different points of view. We just had a 3-episode crossover. So we started with 10. We have 9 now. So 9 players in these different situations. It's been definitely interesting to get them through it. But you have that same thing where they can interact with one another. They all just realize that they're not the only ones fighting the tyranny of this particular city. So as they came together, they did a little bit of adventuring together, and then they just decided to split their efforts and break off again. Thankfully, otherwise it would have been a little bit more difficult to manage. so they're off doing that now. Shoot, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, so I started doing some things on stream that are a little bit different for us. I started this feature called the Winds of Fate, where people watching the game can also get themselves involved in the narrative. It's like 100 bits they can pay on Twitch, and it ticks down a standing countdown timer, a progress timer. And so every time they do it, we have the winds kind of come in and let the players know that it's happening. And then once it's been completed, we roll duality dice. We have them roll in stream. And I have a table that just gives me a word or 2 words prompt. So it's been interesting, and it's upended just so many sessions because I've had like combat encounters planned that they roll the last Winds of Fate, and it just like gets completely decimated. I had this big social encounter planned for Team 1 this one time with all these NPCs they're going to meet, and they're going to get these different lore drops. And then Winds of Fate came through and like blew up the building and just completely decimated that plan. But it's been interesting. It's been a way for the chat to interact with the story and have like really major impact on the story for the players. So
Interesting. Now, do you find that might impact the agency of the story, or are you cool with that?
Well, I'm personally cool with it, like, because I view it very much like it's the player story. Like, we all have this shared narrative. I have an idea of where things are going, but like I want the players to, like, I'm looking for those moments to upend the story. I want the players to upend the story to a certain degree. So when it comes to like the chat doing it, it puts everyone on their back foot, right? They don't control the exact thing that happens. The rolling does it, and the rolling is just a prompt for us in chat, or us in the session, to actually like engage what that means. So the first one we had was like the worst. It was catastrophe. It was I think like a 5 with fear, 11 with fear, or something like that.
Wow.
And the word was catastrophe, and I was like, well, okay, well, shit. And like they just walked into this like this meeting house for this big social event, and catastrophe struck. So I had built this encounter to be like multi-tiered, and they were gonna have this social encounter with all these like elite people in the city, and then they could sneak upstairs and get into their offices and get some lore. And then if they were like super on it and rolled really well, they could find a secret elevator and go to the basement level, where there was this big laboratory. And in the laboratory, there was this big hidden NPC from somebody's backstory, and this thing was booby-trapped. So when they rolled catastrophe, the only thing I could think that would make a catastrophe was to initiate that booby trap and just like, pump it up a bunch. So like this whole thing just like erupted. And it again,
Very
it like
cool.
completely wrecked their social encounter, but they jumped right into combat with this really, really tough enemy that I wasn't necessarily anticipating introducing, or not, at least in that session. So I like it because it kind of like disrupts everything.
Sure.
And then eventually the other team made their way over to the wreckage of this house, and found that lore that we were going to drop. So they ended up getting it, and it was totally to like essentially turn the party against Fargrim's characters. So it worked out. It worked out for me. It worked out for Fargrim too, so far, I guess. But
very cool.
Yeah.
We do something kind of similar like that with it used to be luck and DM disadvantage, but we've since changed the names of it to boon and bane, where you can give the party rerolls, or give the party, you can force me to roll with disadvantage kind of thing to kind of help when they're in a tough spot and the dice aren't in their favor kind of thing. Chat can help kind of push the story one way or the other.
Yeah, it's really
Another
nice to
idea
get
for
them
something.
involved.
I have another idea that I haven't started yet, and I think it's kind of similar to your Winds of Fate. I've been workshopping for a hot minute. Got to get it right there.
You know what else has been going? We started doing again just because I'm still trying to get through all of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm on book 7, but like we started doing loot boxes, like straight up. Chat can I think so. There's like big loot boxes that it's community goals that I just keep extending because they're pretty big. But there's lower loot boxes that they can buy in chat, and there's a bot that monitors chat, and it just drops something from a roll table, and you can get scrolls, you can get, depending on what what level of loot box. They're all tiers. I forget what tier. I think they're level. Are you level 7 now, Fargrim?
Yes.
You'd think I would know that.
I would
So like,
hope.
I would hope I would know that. So some of the loot boxes are like, some of it's like junk that they have, but we also have a system where their NPCs can sell their junk for them. Then they have an NPC who's like really good. You can use it as materials to make stuff. So none of it goes to waste. But it has helped because the way that the story runs for these players are all sort of fugitives. So and now the city is under siege with this tyrannical force. So getting to a shop has been trying. Not that anyone's really tried too much, but getting to a shop has been difficult. So this is just another way to introduce a little extra for them. So it's been interesting. We've actually gotten some pretty decent gear out of it, and we started like the scroll system where you have this one-time use domain card from Daggerheart. I don't think anyone's used it yet, but I know that there's a bunch of them out there.
Cool. It's an interesting system. I may have to try that out sometime.
It's kind of like your trinket redeem, Eric.
Yeah, we do a trinket redeem at 100,000 channel points. We do a basic story item, but it requires a ton of watching. It's like watching, I think it's 100 episodes you have to watch in order to redeem one. And we try to make them very interesting lore bits that come in and can build the story. We don't necessarily cause it to throw a wrench into things, but more it's an exposition tool for the story, and we like doing it that way. We find that the redeems that diminish aspects of the game weren't feeling good for the players, so everything that we've been doing is uplifting. So our chat gives inspiration all the time. We had to limit that because people were giving 30 inspirations per session, which was insane. And so we've limited it to 6 per session, 2 per person, so that we can spread the love a little bit. But yeah, the 100,000 channel point thing allows people to go ahead and put out there a bit of story item into the game. It's a fun way to encourage people to watch and get involved and see what does my story item do in the story. It's cool.
That's funny. They can buy hope and fear for the players or the GM and mine as well. And I implemented new things to try to cut back on the hope, but ultimately it just cut back on my fear. Like,
Yeah.
when everything is said and done.
There's another streamer that I like visiting, and he has a spank the party thing, and it deals a 1d4 to the entire party, and I'll show up and I'll dump 10 redemptions on it, and we'll just spank the party repeatedly. And so when I show up, everyone's terrified.
I like that.
You guys are giving me some really great ideas. Thank you so much.
And shout out to Charm Fantasy. He's an amazing GM as well. If you guys not checked him out, he's the guy I'm talking about. We've collabed with him a couple times. He's a good guy.
Heck yeah. So the next question, what do you think you've improved upon since last time we hung out? Or anything you feel like you've gained more confidence in? Let's start with John.
So I've not been doing this not as long as Eric for sure. I think I said this the last time we did one. Is like I discovered this in my 30s and was so mad because this is something I would have loved doing my entire life. It's like, yes, I love this. It combines all the elements of things that I love doing. And in the beginning, I feel like I was an over planner. And I still like to plan a lot, but it's kind of gotten to the point where I bullet point a session essentially, and then I mostly just wing it. Obviously, you have to prep some NPCs and maps and set up Foundry and stuff like that. But beyond that, it's like, I've thought about this enough because it's, all of us, our stories are constantly running in our head. What are we going to do next? What could potentially happen? And thinking through all the things. So I think that the time since we last spoke, I've gotten better at just winging it, or improv, I guess is a better word. And taking the curveballs. One thing that we've been working on to improve, and it's kind of in alpha testing now, is since we've been running so many one shots, like we ran one shots before, like during the campaign, kind of on off weeks, we'd run a one shot. But since we're running so many now, is facilitating that process a little bit better with our community and with other tools. We're testing that out. That should actually, we'll make an announcement probably in the next couple months on some changes with that. Those tools have helped a lot. It takes setting up one shot stuff from just like the general communication avenues and information dumps that you need to get started. It takes that from an hour and a half, hour to 10 or 15 minutes tops, which is great. So we can set up and facilitate more games in a shorter amount of time. Since one shots are a lot of work, I prefer a campaign, just week to week. You kind of
Absolutely.
know what you're expecting. Luckily, Hal RPG, he and I are alternating, so that really helps. And I think Roddy's going to run another one shot soon, which will be fun. He did one a couple months ago that was just a hoot. Learning that kind of stuff, just ways to better facilitate what we're doing, has helped a lot. And improvisation, that's something that I think that takes practice and takes time, kind of get a feel. And a big thing too is having the same players for a long period of time. It's like you kind of get the feel of the back and forth, and it becomes easier. You don't have to prep as much, and I feel like that's the beyond scheduling. Prep is the biggest BBEG with TTRPGs, because it takes time and a lot of effort.
That it does.
It does. Who's next?
Good question. We'll go with Eric.
What have we improved on? What have I improved on? We've been doing a lot more of map creation. We actually have developed some really cool tools in order to provide prettier maps. We had some generic maps earlier, and I've taken some art classes, and we've worked with my wife, who is a studio arts major, and she's got her degree and everything. We are developing prettier battle maps, and we've worked with a couple of other people who have done battle maps for us and seen their processes. We've been lurking on a couple of map makers here on Twitch and YouTube and learning their tips and tricks. And we've been instituting those into our battle maps, so our battle maps are much prettier than they had been. We've been using Dungeon Alchemist more and more in order to generate setting images. We've done animated setting images because Dungeon Alchemist allows us to export videos, and we can take those videos and we can slice the last 5 seconds off the video, blend it to the front end of the video, and that turns it into a seamless video where we can have seamless torchlight and animations of the settings so that we have the setting image that the players can view that is the dungeon that they're going into or the room that they're going into, and it allows for more immersion. So that's one thing we've been doing, and it's a lot of fun to have those. If you've not used Dungeon Alchemist, we highly recommend that you check it out. It's a really cool tool for making battle maps. They have some cool things coming up real soon with boats and gimbaling of all objects, which is going to allow us to do better kit bashing and more custom objects in the world. Um, we've done some more puzzles, which have been a lot of fun. We've done, since 2 years ago, goodness, we created these sky map decoders, which are really cool. These have 42 codes on them, and you rotate them. We make these in-house on our laser, and these allow you to encode things multiple ways. And the cipher, it has 28 ciphers on here that allow you to change the code on the fly. It's a lot of fun. We sell these over at gmeric.com as well. It allows us to put codes and things in the game where we only have to give the players the one cipher, the one device. They pick this up, and then they can go and decode the thing. It's a lot of fun to do that. We've tried to do more props. We've been doing more puzzles, and storyline stuff has just been a ton of fun. Like, we've been taking more of the player input and implementing it into the game, trying to allow more player agency and doing the improv thing of, hey, look, I've got the framework of what we want. We've got the main storyline, but my players may just go bird and do the ADHD thing and go off the rails on this left-hand turn. And we may go down that left-hand turn for 2 or 3 months because my campaigns last for years and years usually. We may go down that road for 2 or 3 months before they eventually come back to the main story. It's still there, and that side quest builds the lore of what's been going on, and we just slowly, gently move them back onto the track. It's like driving the Disneyland go-karts where, yeah, there's a rail in the center, but you can bounce around all around it. And that's the kind of thing we try to encourage, is let the players go ahead and create stuff. If they're um, asking, hey, what's in the well down the street? And I haven't prepped the well. There's a great example from Mercer where he talks about this with Mulligan about the fact that, hey, the player created this thing in his head that there's a well over there and he wants to jump down the well and find what's down there. And you ask the player, okay, well, what did you find? And if the player goes and says, I found 100,000 gold, and then you wake up with your dick in your hand. It's a fun way to allow the players to create stuff. If instead they say, at the bottom of the well, there's a skeleton. Well, I can run with a skeleton. That's easy. Well, I'm going to put a medallion on the skeleton's neck, whatever. And now you build the story based off of what the player created for you. It's that improv and stuff like that that I absolutely adore. So trying to give players more agency and riffing off of that as a GM just takes note taking. That's the biggest thing, is just taking the notes of what they've done and driving it. As far as myself, I've also been taking some improv classes through YouTube and practicing voices and stuff. So we're trying to do more stuff on that end as well. Yeah, things have been good. Things have been good and exciting. How about you, Fargrim?
Well, when I'm not at work for 50 hours, uh, that's my life right now. But at the table, especially with uh, I'm playing with my new toy, which is Daggerheart. I'm learning new. I'm learning ways that I can improve my imagination through my player's eyes. I mean, we kind of talked about, like the well situation or something in their backstory. Like I have a player named Zira Constance. Their backstory is, or their bloodline is a werewolf. So I'm trying to tie that in from a European mindset from their background to this Native American ideal of natural shape shifting. Uh, Just
Zero's a werewolf, but like I know that's not all there is to it.
oh no, no.
There's a specific breed of wolf in which they.
I feel like there will be. No, Zero. It's fun playing with people who have cooler jobs than you do because we're just like, whoa, that's a way different imagination than I have.
You got to be really careful introducing wildlife into your campaign when Zero's around.
For sure.
You need to be specific. Make
This
sure
is
the
a
climate
blue bull
matches.
heron. Right. Found in this part of the island. No.
Absolutely.
I'm also learning how to listen to my players because everybody talks differently, thinks differently, presents themselves and their characters' ideals differently. So, as someone who's trying to read them as both a person and as a character, you have to listen differently. And that's one of the things that I've really noticed is how to listen. And this also helps with outside of the table as well, I think, with communication, working with people, understanding where they're coming from and where they'd like to go, whether it be professional setting or, hey, I want to check this out. Another thing that I've been really trying to working on is being a better player at the table since I have that opportunity. It's just like, okay, maybe from this standpoint, I can help my players by understanding the sheet better or thinking of something new, like a new mechanic, like in Dagger Hearts. Ghosts were able to fly in a three-dimensional sense and through objects without taking very much damage. So with this new change, I was like, may I go into my corporeal form and shift my body into this tower and slide my way to the top because it was all solid object. So it's another, I guess, academic thing where it's like rules as written, what does this mean, and how to communicate that with anybody of any understanding.
Loopholes.
Loopholes, yes,
You got to find those loopholes.
but it's not really that. It's understanding what the game is asking of you and communicating that to your players and understanding that for yourself. Uh, that's something that I'm really working on and understanding that it's a fundamental part of DMing is communication. Uh,
Absolutely.
I've been also trying to put more elbow grease into map making because I find it very relaxing. But Incarnate has been a thorn in my side because I'm like, oh, cool, I made this. And then the thief of joy when I look at something else, I'm just like, not there yet, but close. Uh, so it's just those things that I've been trying to work on and improving my stream, making a business, actually having a logo that's not an AI image. That's the number one thing that's been keeping me up at night, just tossing and turning. But yeah, no, just moving forward and learning new things. And these discussions I'm looking forward to because I already have notes of how to improve.
As the logo goes, if you need some recommendations, I do have a list of endorsed artists that you can check out that I have vetted over the years, and we go through about 40 artists a year that don't get endorsed,
Mm,
and we thoroughly endorse our artists. And right now, all of our artists are backlogged to the point that I can't get art made because our community keeps them so busy. So
oh yeah,
um, I'm like 14th in the queue to get a piece of art for a major NPC in because my community is just driving these artists. So if you need them, they're there. Go check them out. They're amazing. But I think I've got like 6 or 7 artists now that are endorsed. And to get endorsed with us, we require that you do 7 commissions with me. All of them have to be on time. They have to be affordably priced. You have to communicate during the entire commission. So it's a rigorous process, but if you get on our endorsed artist list, we thoroughly push you. We've got an endorsed artist channel in our Discord. Check out our artists if you need a logo or character art done. They're amazing to work with. We filtered out a ton of them.
I'm gonna definitely
And
take a look.
we have learned the very easy way of getting our money back from PayPal because of how many failed artists we go through. So we love our endorsed artists. They're amazing. I'd love to be able to find an environmental artist that I could afford because I go through so many environments.
But yeah, landscapes. It's a big one.
Landscapes
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, your camera's going crazy, Fargo.
I know. I might have to get a new one.
For things that things I haven't improved on, I'm gonna sort of fall in the same realm as Eric and John, as I guess everybody has mentioned. And for me specifically, it's just been like, you know, the rule of GMing Daggerheart is just to hold gently to the fiction, right? Don't be so obsessive about getting the players to the finish line. Let them find their own way to a finish line. It may not be the finish line that you set out to have. So I think when it came for prep for this current campaign, I was more about like, all right, like what are some options? Like what do I think they might get into? And so there's actually there's no definitive ending to this campaign, but there are touchstones along the way that as they hit those touchstones, I'm like, all right, they're kind of going a little bit more this path. So, you know, the first campaign was like my first true campaign, and I was very much like, all right, they need to get to this point, and getting them there, I was really pushing them along, and I wasn't letting them take the time to explore environments and stuff. So this one, I almost to a fault, I would say, I just like, you know, I would start writing multiple pages for these sessions, and then I went to one page, and now I'm sort of along the line of John of just being like some bullet points. I usually have like a bit of a monologuing intro, and then just let the players cook. That's a big thing for me, is just sort of letting it go and doing what you hate. And as you say, Eric, for the idea of dropping down into the well and seeing what you see, like that's the heart of Daggerheart, right? Like that's the thing that makes it special. And I feel like I do that almost to a fault at this point, where I'll do it if I'm like, oh, I need to push some buttons over here. If you're producing the live show and you're like, please describe that attack at length. Here you go, you know, and they're always describing. I love. Yeah, I love like they'll do a tag team role and just how in depth they get with like how exactly that attack lands between the two of them coordinating. Like we have this major location that we've been talking about in session since that one shot that you were in with the last pilgrimage way back when Gretchen took that. Like you don't know it, but you totally fucked up the world. And that's pretty much the basis of this current campaign. And that place,
that tracks.
Yeah, because you touch stuff, which is just what John does when he's your player. You unleash this world that we've been talking about since then. And last night was the first time we really saw what it looked like. And I had no real idea. If you think about it, right? So we had a brand new player come in, and it was up to her to just say like, all right, this is what the world looks like. So put it out there and let them actually build this whole realm, you know. And it's those opportunities that present themselves that I'm trying to be generally better about.
I encourage letting the players cook. Like you guys have said, the hardest part of doing this is the prep. And this, other than the scheduling, yes, that's a thing. But once you've got the scheduling down, the prep is the hardest part. And allowing the players to just cook and do their RP between themselves, if you can get the players just RPing amongst themselves for an hour, it's a lot less prep you have to do. You can just let your prep sit there and push it to next week. Don't try to rush through your content. Let them, if you've got a schedule of, hey, we have to be done by this date, then sure. But if you just allow the open-endedness of it and allow them to embrace, hey, I want to have a discussion about how I felt about the food that we ate last night. Great. Allow them to discuss the food. and they can have a food fight. They can discuss why seasonings are important, whatever. Just let them have their thing.
Absolutely. And I find that like I have two teams and I feel personally that those two teams are just like dramatically different. I do have one
Everyone's
team that
different.
tends to be like a little more crunchy. They want that more focused direction.
Yep.
And the other team is very I could just be like, "Hey, you're hanging out in the common area," and they will RP the entire session unless I step in. So, two very very different routes. I do try to get both of them to be more uh open with their RP and stuff, and they all do a
Yep.
really great job. But I do find that the one of my groups I have to be a little bit more direct with. These are your options. What do you want to do?
Sometimes it
I
just
miss a
takes a little bit
campaign.
of sense, but yeah. Go ahead.
I miss a campaign.
Campaigns, man, that's the way to go. One shots, generating one shots is a lot of work. It's a
Because I
lot of
mean,
work.
one shots generally need to stay on the rails unless we've done a couple like no prep one shots where it's just throw your stuff together. We actually did
Yep.
one where the players used D&D Beyond and just rolled a random character and they played it, and the stats were awful, and it was hilarious, and it was a great
Wow.
time. But I miss just with Chronicles of Nildor in that campaign, I could sit back for long stretches and let them talk to each other.
Yep.
I miss that. It's harder to do with a one shot because you've kind of got a time limit. I mean, I would play for 9 hours. I think the past couple that I've run, we've got people on the West Coast Pacific time, and then we've got people in Ireland. So they're playing. People in Ireland are playing on hard mode from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. So it's kind of like you gotta
Yeah.
keep time in mind for that.
Again, the
But
beauty of Daggerheart. And even last night, I had players hanging out on the cliffside talking about the best way to evade some people in a hut, and it's just like all you have to say is, "I'm going to spend a fear,"
Mhm.
and they're like, ah. And I think it tells them exactly what you needed to say.
Cool. Parker's
Oh,
cameras
I
having the
know.
poop. Just
Dude,
saying, man.
it's getting worse. I swear.
Percussive maintenance.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to old yeller it
hit
pretty
it with a
soon.
wrench.
All right. Second last question. Something new that you've done that you've recently enjoyed. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. Something your play your players have done recently that you have enjoyed. I'll start off actually. Um, Last campaign. This is going with understanding your players. Well, I had a wedding last campaign between two people that were dating in real life. Um,
Fun.
yeah, he proposed to his boyfriend live, and it was cool. And we had a nice wedding ceremony by the player's NPC mom, who was a divine figure. Where I'm getting with this is that character, that druid character who proposed to his uh, boyfriend, aka husband now, he wanted to die. I was like, why you killed off your character, dude? I just lost two other parties because of scheduling conflicts, and you're the only party I have left. Now we're shrinking that party to three people. You can do it, but it's going to be really shitty for everybody. So I made a compromise and gave him celestial star sickness since he was a reincarnated star that was a what was it? The celestial star druids, circle star druid, D&D.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Okay, that's what it was. Um, so just having weddings and player agents, like more player agency in a restricted D&D world, or having them take more control of their backstory. Like, this is the end game for my character. Let's see how it happens. And they have loved taking full control of certain things in their background. Other times they're just like, Fargrim, surprise me. And I'm just like, cool, you have amnesia because your robot butler dropped you on your head while you were trying to escape your murderous family. Something like that. So full control of our player backstory. And another thing for Daggerheart, I have two players. Well, I set up a play-by-post chat for our long rests, so they can work on their activities, they could talk to each other, they could talk about books, spices, romance novels, make out, whatever they want to do. And I have two players that, I shit you not, till like 2, 3 in the morning, just role play, just have simple, bright, light conversations. I'm just like, damn, you guys are really
Awesome.
getting into it. That's a very satisfying feeling too.
When you see that passion, you got to encourage it, man. That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah,
We love seeing that.
yeah. I reward that also through campaign things like you find yourself a nice romantic date, or this moment is just right for this.
That's great.
But yeah,
Love seeing that.
Ghost. Something that your players have done recently that you've enjoyed.
Let's see. I always like when the players like again upend the story. So one thing that we started doing when we had our crossover, one of the groups went and tried to um, help out the community. Right? They decided that this whole city is under siege. They were going to go out and try to do some good. So in the process of doing that, they started to really raise a rebellion. And so we started implementing the idea of a progress counter for, as these different acts are happening in this through the live play and through the natural session, we give them some sort of a tick towards actually like raising this rebellion. And it's getting to the point now where that's starting to take a life of its own. There's a few things that we're planning out for what's happening with that rebellion. But it becomes almost like this other player off camera that they can begin to like send on missions and stuff like that. So there's actually we will see how it pans out, but I know that they're actually planning to use them to actually like further their plans. Something else that I really have liked recently that we had this big crossover. It's really hard to fit 3 groups totaling 9 players into their one episode. So we had Fargrim's group 1 got pushed to the next episode, beginning of the next episode. And it was supposed to be just this, like, you go to this place, you talk to them, you figure out some of Fargrim's crew members from his pirate ship. One of them betrayed him, and he was trying to figure out which one. Get some information. But then there's just all of this like really deep RP that was happening that I wasn't expecting at all. But one of the players is missing a kid. Fargrim and this other player were on the ship when this kid was taken, and then he found out that the other player was there. He already knew that Fargrim was part of it, but he found out that the other player was there as well. And the other player flat out lied, right? Like they and here's the thing is that they didn't mean to lie. Like they just kind of forgot what the actual lore was, but it played out in such a way that created this extra tension, right? Like the one player was communing with their deity and called for a color changing star to be the guidance, and then I said, hey, like what color does it turn? And I put it on the player, and they were like, nope, I'm not lying. But then I was like, oof. But it created this extra tension, and it created this really intense RP moment amongst all of the characters. And then we had this like really joke NPC that was in the background being like, just fumbling around while they're actually having some like pretty deep, serious RP. So that's something I really enjoyed. I wasn't really anticipating. Was just this really great story that sort of evolved from something that was supposed to be relatively quick and relatively like low hanging fruit almost,
That's fun.
Eric.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed from my players is I've been getting a ton of lore documents. I've been getting lore documents of about an island or a culture or a monster species that would be cool to have. I've been getting hundreds of pages of documents. Some of it's AI driven, that's fine. We filter through and we refine it into something that we can use, but we love getting the ideas, and getting the documents allow us to skim and take what we can use and incorporate it. So getting lore documents and the passion from the players is priceless. We love seeing that. But the thing that the players are doing in session that I love seeing the most is we have a lot of quieter players, and I've been seeing a lot of our more vocal and bold players reaching out to the quieter players and drawing their RPs out, encouraging them that it's a safe space and pulling them out into the forefront and being like, hey, your character is interesting. We want to learn more about this very quiet player's character. The character themselves may not be quiet, but the player is. And I'm loving seeing how our players are reaching out to the quieter members and drawing them to the forefront and giving them the opportunities. And then when they get there, being patient with the quiet person so that they have the few moments to collect their thoughts, realize, hey, it is a safe space. These people are interested in my character. We want to drive the story, and you're giving me an opportunity. It takes the GM just shutting up for a little bit to allow that player to process and realize it's safe. No one's criticizing, critiquing, nothing. And we can absolutely just encourage the quieter members to come out of their shell. And when that happens, we've got 3 major quiet players in my campaigns right now. And when we see these players come out of their shell and start giving jibes and poking at other characters and having a bit of fun and rebelling and then having major RP moments. We had a moment with one of our quieter members this past week where they broke up with their warlock patron. They broke their pact, and it was a major moment for a very quiet player. We love seeing that growth of RP and the players driving that around the quiet member. The rest of the team, the other 6 members in that party, surrounded that player and encouraged them to flourish and thrive in the RP. We love seeing when players come together as a group and a family to bring everybody up. It's really neat to see, and I'm super fortunate to have a great community that draws other people in instead of being focused on their own highlights. And I just want to encourage that as much as possible, because it makes it more fun for everyone when you see, oh, this quiet person hasn't talked in an hour. Let's go and find out what their character's doing and pull them into the story again. We love seeing that. And that's my favorite thing that my players have been doing lately.
And John?
A little tougher for me since I think I've run 2 games in the last 5 or 6 months. So I took a break through the summer while Hal ran miniseries and stuff. But of those 2, I think it ended up actually being the exact same group of people. So that's actually been fun. But playing, or I mean, I guess DMs and GMs are playing too, but running a game for people that I've not run before, TK Clear and Thaco Bear. The 2 of them have been in both of these, and I've enjoyed getting to play with new people and experiencing different ways of playing. Because I'm relatively new in the grand scheme of things to tabletop RPGs, our first campaign, I kept it to just like the basics for species and classes and stuff. I've since kind of opened that up more, and I'm getting to learn more about different things. that I didn't know before. Like they'll create a character, and I'm like, oh, I get to read through this sheet and learn all these new things that I didn't know existed. Plus expanded content because there's just so much out there and so many different things that you can do. But
It's a good
I've
way to get
enjoyed,
started, man.
start with the basics and then slowly grow in it, learn a character at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to talk about on that point.
I was very excited the last time I played in one of the one shots that I could be a changeling. I was like, ooh.
Hmm.
And then I had a message Hal. I was like, are you sure? Is this am I understanding this right? I could be a changeling.
Changelings are challenging to play because you have so much RP potential with a changeling where you can do so many things, but you don't want to break the game. And so that balance
Yeah.
is really hard to do. It's fun though. We've
Kinda
got
wanna
some
break
I
it.
amazing
think
changelings in campaigns.
Ghost did
I don't want to
awesome
break
with
the
it.
game.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, this person doesn't have an actual like look. I just want to like make them look like other characters as they walk through. So
That's fun. That's
we
fun.
had a lot of fun. Ultimately, it
I love
didn't really pan out the way that I wanted, but it worked
Oh,
out.
I love that you did a callback too to one of your uh, players where you came in as a guest spot, Callan.
Mm-hmm.
You were
Miss Callan.
changed into a halfling and you did the Callan voice. It's like, yes. I was actually playing with you that night, and it was so much fun. I enjoyed getting to play too, which is something that I've run more games than I've played. I think that's probably the case for most of us.
yeah.
Getting to play and stepping on the other side is a lot of fun. It's hard sometimes. You're so used to knowing what's happening and what's going to happen and planning, and there's almost that decision paralysis sometimes. It's like, not sure what I want to do. Like, I want to touch the thing, but I know that it's going to break everything. Okay, I'm going to touch the thing anyway, just because DMs and GMs put stuff there to be touched. So why would they describe this in such detail if they didn't want me to touch it?
You know,
Go
I
ahead
can
and
say that.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I can say that like this last time, it has been a while since I have been a player, but the last time playing in with your one shot, I did find myself being less worried about finding stuff out. I guess I played more of a chaotic character, so as I was going through, it was really just doing chaotic stuff. But normally, I'm like trying to figure out the specifics of every little thing, and I think that sort of the way that I've changed how I GM has affected the way that I am as a player as well. You know, you're putting more trust in your party, and you're just throwing yourself in how you imagine your character to be. And I think normally I'm like more like, oh, I need to figure this out. Not I need to change into the exact form of that little kid and then make the bartender, who's not a bartender, think that I'm them.
So this is a soup kitchen.
I need some vodka. Sir, this is a
I,
soup kitchen.
I'm actually going to shout out. I got an opportunity to play in a game hosted by Rolex Play here on Twitch. And if you've not checked them out, they're a tiny creator. But they hosted me back in February, I think it was, or March. And they put together a great little one shot. It was a murder mystery. And I got to play in that. And it was a lot of fun to be able to go in and do that. I went in and played with one of my employees, and we did a team up with that. And being able to go in and play enhances being able to be a GM. And while we don't get to play as often as other players, getting to do so on occasion gives you the opportunity to be like, oh, this is how my players are feeling. Let's go ahead and adjust what I'm doing in order to enhance things. And it was a ton of fun. I loved playing in his game. If you've not checked out Rolex Play, I encourage you guys to check him out over on Twitch.
You know, I know that whenever we do these, we end up challenging group to do something. So I think the big challenge for us should be have a player who we all know who doesn't GM regularly or maybe has never GM'd, and have them run a game for all the GMs.
Sage.
Exactly who I was thinking.
Sage. Sage, if you hear this, you have been officially fucked.
Calling you out.
Calling you out, Sage. It better be good. No, I'm kidding. So how you guys doing on time?
I'm pretty good.
Alright. So another half hour, another 10 minutes.
I can do another 30 if you guys want.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm here.
cool. I mean, we've reached the last question. That's why I've asked.
No more
Um,
questions.
no more questions. As far as
Um,
challenges go, if you guys want challenges, I can present challenges. Challenges are fun, and I'd love to get one from you guys. Just saying, it could be
okay.
a lot of fun to try to throw a wrench in what I'm doing. And do you guys have any ideas that would be off the wall that you could throw at somebody? And I have one that I don't think any of you would ever try, but I'm going to go ahead and start if you guys are cool with it.
Absolutely.
I have a challenge that I've been looking at doing at some point with a campaign, and it is to start the campaign at max level and have the player characters devolve down to a BBEG at level 1.
Like a video game where you start with all your gear.
Right. You start off with all your gear,
Yeah.
and as the campaign goes along, you can't buy any more gear. All of your potions are limited to what you started with. You are limited to your magic items and how many charges they have. And as you go along, you lose character levels as you go along through the campaign until you're at level 1 facing a BBEG who's a CR2 and facing off against an inverted campaign. I think would be a really interesting thing to do. And I don't think anyone's going to do it because it's going to feel bad for the players as they lose their minds
Getting
and
weaker and weaker.
getting weaker and weaker throughout the campaign. And the way you'd have to do it is have magic itself in the world being dissolved. And at the end, allow for a surge at the very, very end to repair the world. It'd be kind of fun to do. I don't think anyone's going to do it, but it's a concept that I had. And it'd be interesting to see if anyone ran with that.
It would be pretty cool.
Cool idea. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
It'd be
That is a
tough.
cool idea.
But as far as actual challenges, I think if you guys want a challenge, I encourage you guys to take a JPEG, slice it up into multiple PNGs, and form an on-screen puzzle that the players can move the pieces around and solve.
Had a puzzle like that on my list of things that I want to try for a minute.
It's not
Something
hard
that
to
I've
do.
been thinking.
Go ahead. It's not hard
Something that
to
I've
do.
been thinking
It's
about
super fun.
for a minute. It came up the other day that I want to try. I think would be a fun challenge for any of us. Would be to co-DM a session or co-DM a session.
I love that.
Seen that some people do that, but getting to prep together and kind of hand off, like handling combat, or when you role play, you can actually role play with another person and you're not like turning and talking to yourself and changing your voice if you have NPCs like that. I feel like that would be challenging in a different kind of way because it's letting go of some of the prep and sharing that. But I think that the game could, if perfected, could run so smoothly, having like 4 hands behind it instead of just 2.
It would be fun for sure. I teach for the Army. I teach health service instruction and leadership, and I oversee a bunch of instructors. And one of the things that we do is we talk about like primary instructor, assistant instructor trade-offs, where you all have, like, when you're instructing anything, for at least for the military, you have your lesson plan and you have your slide deck, and you put these items up on a podium. You have somebody come up and act as the PI, and they get no prep, right? They just come up, they look at and it's all facilitation. We have this facilitated learning model, and so they begin to facilitate this course, and then you say stop. You rotate your PI and your AI, and then the AI comes up and just picks up where they left off. The idea is that at any point in time, you could be asked to fill in for a course. People get sick, things happen. And it's just practicing, learning how to more fluently read your lesson plan and develop your skills to be able to just jump in, facilitate. So I like the idea of what John is saying, because it's very much that line of thinking. You have your sheet of music, you have your lesson plan, and you are just swapping in with your GMs. Now, I would love it to be more random, to be like, something happens in chat. Maybe they call it out in chat and you swap. Maybe you rotate in the table. Everyone
That's
just
another
rotates.
idea I've had, where it's all DMs and like you pass the story and it's not really prepped, but you just pass the story every now and then, and you each have your own character
Just make it up. Yeah.
and just kind of make it up. It would have to be no prep because there's no way that you could facilitate, say, 5 DMs and pushing the story forward. It's just kind of picking up and running with it to where it goes. For maps
That'd be
and stuff,
interesting.
that's going to get hard. But I feel like it's like an oops all DMs kind of game where you, I guess anytime someone rolls a nat 20 or chat can control it or a time limit, there's different variables where you could make the pass happen. I feel like it needs to even out where everyone gets the same amount of time, but you don't know
Maybe
if you're going to start it. You don't know if
you
you're
all
going
have
to
a
end
magic
it.
number.
Yeah.
Somebody rolls at 12 and 12 is my number, and then you jump in as a DM.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
If you want to see a
Chaotic.
cool set of co-GMs, check out Catchy Cantrips here on Twitch. They do co-GMing quite often. The two of them are amazing. Ash and David are amazing.
They are, yeah.
And just
Helen and I have been talking
I know
about
we
doing that.
had military acronyms: PI, AI, primary instructor, assistant instructor.
In this instance, yeah. PIAI, primary assistant.
I know that acronyms in military get glossed over quite often, and I'm a military brat. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the acronyms in English.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure that in some other corner of the Army, PIAI means something else entirely.
Absolutely.
In this instance, that's what it means. So going back to the challenge that Eric was talking about, though, I made the joke about we don't have to memento this shit when we talked about the order of the. But what if we did? And what if we did memento this shit and take Eric's idea of the world devolving, but just change it to be like just that scene. You start a session at the end and you run that session like the movie Memento. You start with killing the BBEG and you work your way, you construct it backwards. I have no idea how that would work, but that's why it's a challenge, right?
How would you get the players to weave the path back to that exact spot and moment?
Make it
that would be challenging.
Get them back to the tavern.
Ooh, I've got ideas for a one shot where they have to heal the BBEG back up and return him to full health so that the fight can start.
Do some time travel wonkiness.
Yeah.
That's really what it would be, right? Like every attack would add hit points,
health back to him. Wow. That'd be interesting. I may have to do this one. That's a good idea, man. I love this one. I'll have to figure this one out. Oh yeah, this is the GM brain going. And I've got players in the chat right now who are going, no,
no.
It'd be great. Oh man, we got to figure that out. I got to see what we can do to do that one because that could be a lot of fun.
Why don't we turn that devolving one into the one that we all share the story on?
Sure.
Make it like a monthly game.
It would fit.
I don't know if I can do a monthly game, but I'd absolutely be down for doing like a one shot or something. Absolutely, or making a guest appearance. My schedule, you guys know my schedule's slammed right now. Whatever week we do,
what's a 10th game? Come on,
it would be a 10th game, or some weeks it would be an 11th game because I sometimes get like birthday parties or bachelor parties that I have to do as well. So, yeah, I'm up for doing something fun. I think it'd be a really cool time to hang out with other GMs and do a GM only game. That'd be a lot of fun.
I like the idea too of it being just zero prep and like that way. It's sort of like not a lot of pressure. You just go and have fun.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun just to be like, all right, no prepping allowed. Show up. We will give you the prompt at the start of the session, and here is your instant create on D&D Beyond or whatever, and just go for it. That could be a lot of fun.
I think the one that I did that was truly no prep. I used D&D Beyond, and we were using the D&D Beyond maps on that one, and I just grabbed some of the already blank maps that they had and used those instead of. I think I tried to do another no prep, and we were using Foundry, and I was like, I ended up actually prepping like a whole dungeon. So I already had like an idea of what I was doing, so it wasn't truly no prep.
You prep
using that.
multiple maps because you don't know what they're going to come up with. Here's a
Well,
field, and
for
here's
this
a
one,
dungeon.
it was
Here's a castle.
the Tower of Terror. I was reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, and they start at the top, and they've got to work their way down to the boss room or whatever. So I made these 3 maps or whatever. So it wasn't really no prep. I feel like if you just pull up like a grid sheet,
Yeah.
in Beyond and use that as the map, and it's more theater of the mind with stuff, and drop the tokens in that you've got and kind of stuff, that would actually probably facilitate that better.
Roll20 has the dungeon scrawl feature in it where you can literally draw the map on the sheet live, which may be a good way to do that type of thing.
I've never actually used Roll20, so
I've been meaning to because they give us lots of demiplane stuff, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I find Roll20 to be more user friendly from the front end. Foundry is a more powerful product. It's just not as intuitive as Roll20 is. Foundry is a much better product. Just takes more setup to do.
I love the modularity of Foundry.
Absolutely.
Actually built a module that controls our Boon and Bane stuff. So when the power ups and the channel points hit, it actually updates it in Foundry, which updates it on the stream. Does all kinds of, we can see in the Foundry chat when people raid or gift subs and stuff like that. So we're not trying to look at 12 different chats or whatever while we're running a game. It's all kind of in the Foundry chat, which I think is cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very cool.
I've also seen this other idea for another challenge that it's been around for a minute, where the players don't know, like they wake up, they don't know anything about themselves kind of thing. So they don't have their sheet. Then as you progress, they make rolls, and it's like, this is your modifier. So
I've done this one before.
Oh, you've done that one?
It takes a
Awesome.
very specific group to do. You have to have a group that trusts the GM implicitly. And so if you're going to do that one, I encourage you to do it with a group that you've run with before or players you've run with before, because you have to create their character sheets for them. And you need to create character sheets that they're going to enjoy and that they can discover, oh, he does understand who I am as a player. This character does fit me. Here we go. And they can then explore it. If the GM doesn't understand the player, inevitably the player will find that they are playing a character they don't enjoy at all. So it takes a lot of trust and a lot of intimate knowledge of who your players are, but it can be a lot of fun. So give it a try. But be aware that you need to make sure that the player character is designed for the player. Because you got to know them intimately for that. Otherwise, they come up and the guy who likes being sneaky has a negative in stealth, and it's not going to have a good time.
Well, that kind of goes hand in hand too with, I'm going to play this, just click the button and it generates a character, no prep kind of thing. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Hal rolled a rogue that had negative in dex and everything that's important for a rogue. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to play it. I think it really comes down to just player still gets to have their personality. That doesn't really change a whole lot.
Yeah,
depends on how the session's framed too, right? Like if they go into it expecting like part of the fun is the chaos of not knowing, you know. But again, I could also see the point of them being like, I have this character that's not doing the thing that I want.
I do have players who could embrace anything from any perspective, but I've only got like 2 of those players in any one group. So getting an entire group of that type of player who are just down for whatever, kind of rare.
That's Hal all day. Hal just wants to play some TTRPGs. I think that's actually a lot of the people that we generally play with. They just want to play. They don't care what it is, or just want to get together and have a good time. And that's, I think, kind of the point of all this is.
Absolutely. Gets distracting from real life. Go and have some fun.
That kind of leads into Fargrim's last question.
What new games
do
you want to try?
So I've played Daggerheart. I've only ever actually run D&D 5e. not 5.5, nothing older. So that's kind of what I know because I've only been in this for a few years. So Hal is kind of the knowledge in our group because he's played them all forever. I think he wants to run a Star Wars 5e. I think it's the older one, not the one that's about to come out officially.
Mm-hmm.
Vampire the Masquerade. He's run some Daggerheart, which we need to do some more Daggerheart because it's a lot of fun. I enjoy being chaotic. Sorry, Ghost.
I enjoyed it as well.
I think we want to run some Lancer, some Cosmere. I think I'm saying that right. Like we have a whole huge list of things. Like we're always like talking back and forth and through the day, like it's games that we want to try. And it's just a matter of finding people that want to play those games. So I know the D&D and Daggerheart now are kind of like the go-tos for a lot of people, especially on Twitch and online.
Yep.
But yeah.
I'm excited for the new World of Warcraft stuff. They're bringing Icecrown Citadel out. I'm actually looking at doing and I'm going to get in trouble with my admin. Fortunately, she's no longer in the chat and can't hear me. But we're going to be looking at doing a 10th campaign where we just go through Icecrown Citadel, and we're going to do that as an entire dungeon run series. We're going to actually do that, and that's going to be starting. We get the books in October, I think they said, and so we're probably going to be running that November and December time frame. And I got a campaign that's ending between here and there, so there's a good chance that might be coming up as an availability either on Sunday evenings or Friday mornings or something. Might be both. We'll see. I'm a huge World of Warcraft nut. I have way too many hours in that game, and I loved Icecrown Citadel. I was a raid leader for that, and so we're going to be running that as a D&D campaign. It's going to be a good time.
I might actually join that. I'm a huge Warcraft nerd myself.
We'll have to put you on the wait list then.
It's worth every penny.
I follow along the lines of John. John, you've been doing this longer than I have. I joined at the tender age of 43. Learned TTRPGs, which would have loved to know this in high school so many years ago. But I've only actually played D&D and Daggerheart. So there's a bunch that I have. I still collect TTRPGs on free TTRPG day, and so I have all of these like canned adventures that I'd love to try. But like I've always heard some really great stuff about like Drawn Steel or Legend of the Mist, something like that. I've even created characters for the Marvel Multiverse game, wanting to jump in on one of my players' games. So I have like one prep to go, but I've still never played it. So
if you get an opportunity, try GURPS.
yeah,
GURPS is great. Another one to try out is actually BattleTech if you like number crunchy. BattleTech if you like mecha fantasy.
that'd be cool.
BattleTech is so number crunchy and so detailed, but with the right GM, it can be a blast. So I encourage you guys to check those out as well.
I think the big thing for us is finding. We lost Fargrim. I think he's still there.
I think you can hear us, but yeah, you probably can't see us all. There he is.
Alice in chat points out that the mostly improvised No Man's Sky campaign also counts as a TTRPG. However, it was really kind of like a reskinned D&D. Although we really just like made up, we were like recreating D&D Beyond on the website. It got a little bit too in depth. We were really just like reskinning things and making it work. But I guess technically that was the first one.
I think with the new story stuff that's in No Man's Sky, you could actually run a really solid sci-fi D&D campaign through it, or maybe even a Starfinder game. If you've not played Starfinder as well, that's one that needs to be on your list because Starfinder is solid. Starfinder is absolutely solid TRPG.
Starfinder and Pathfinder. I like RP, but I also like the crunchy aspect of some of the games. So that's one reason why I'm curious. I want to try other stuff. A big thing for us for running games is just finding players. Like I think I said in chat earlier, we're just running free one-shots pretty much every Friday. Hal and I are alternating. So if anyone wants to play something random, just let us know and we'll try to facilitate it. We can get enough people together. It sounds. Want to try something new?
I may have to get on one of those. Right now, I've got a group that happens at the same time as yours, so
Yeah.
we may have to take a day off or something and hop in and do something.
Our usual time slot that we've always run is just been 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights, but sometimes we do run on Saturday afternoons, and I think we could probably figure something out because
Yeah,
it'd be fun to have all of us together
of course.
Yeah.
actually playing.
Well, Fargrim's camera is taking a poop. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. I just need to get a new one. But I want to try Starfinder #1, #2, Vampire Masquerade, just to see what
I
it's
can't
like.
play Vampire anymore, man. I got ruined with Vampire due to a LARP that was running it. And I
Oh,
actually
Lord.
got bitten by a girl. So,
What's wrong with that?
like, it turned me off from the whole thing because she bit way too hard
Oh,
and it was
God.
not a great experience. So, Vampire the Masquerade, I've got some IRL trauma on that one, so I don't do that one anymore.
Right
Got
on.
questions.
So many questions.
Too many
It was a
questions.
LARP, and we were doing the whole thing, and she was going to go bite, and I'm like, okay, fine, and she like rolls the dice and sees the result before she announces it, and just jumps up and grabs me and bites down on my neck. I'm like, no, we're done here. Like
HR.
HR.
I
And the
start.
thing is,
I
it
start.
was at a game shop. Like that was the weirdest part. It was at a local game shop in front of like 30 people. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm done with this one. So
HR.
no, that's why I
Okay.
don't do Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf anymore. So I stay out of those two.
Fair point, Eric. I'm sorry for your trauma.
It's very minor, and I know it's personal, and I know that a lot of people have fun with it, and it's a great story. I wish I could get back into it, but the moment I touch that TTRPG, it's like, uh, no.
Oh my lord.
That's just my personal side of it. That's all.
I kind of want to get into Cyberpunk too.
Oh, it's so good.
One of my friends in another group has their own Cyberpunk game that they're trying to publish as well.
Cool.
So I'm trying to get into that. But honestly, I'd be getting into like Warhammer 40K, like building
Cool.
models.
That's
Uh,
expensive hobby.
I dropped at least 500 into it, and I'm still not at 2,000 points for a full army. And that's not paint or nothing, or
Yep.
primer. Blue's included in that.
Oh, that's something.
But I
Yeah.
highly recommend just model building to all my
Yeah.
GM friends. Just when you're doing prep, just build a model or something, or listening to your notes. Just the zen and focus of it is very nice.
It is.
That and Magic the Gathering, like Paper Magic and MTG Arena, really helps
Yep.
with like offset D&D TTRPG stuff to help me refocus to get back into it. If that makes any sense.
Yep.
I have
I can't
all
do
of
cardboard
the
crack anymore.
I've had the best intentions of actually printing out the minis for this campaign and like actually make them look nice and paint them up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've printed out a few test prints and then haven't gotten past that.
Do you have like a resin printer?
No, I just have a PLE.
Yeah, you can do the FDM stuff pretty easy. With the right settings, you can get decent results on a more modern FDM printers can do decent results as opposed to the resin. Resin's a mess. It produces great results if you get it dialed in, but you can get decent results off of the traditional FDM printers now.
Yeah, and the stuff that I have that are resin prints, like, are kind of frail, and I guess it's just a material
Mhm.
that we use when we got them. So I have like a little No Man's Sky character who I've had to glue and re-glue and re-glue and re-glue just because he topples over and smashes. But I got like little characters like this that just come off of
Nice.
Hero Forge that I think if I
Hero Forge is
ever
great.
got into it, I could probably paint this guy. But I was
I
gonna
don't know
paint.
if you guys know this or not, but you can take your Hero Forge minis and put them into Dungeon Alchemist and walk around with them in Dungeon
Yeah,
Alchemist.
yeah. So I was if so we got some partnership stuff from Eldritch Foundry, and I spent
Nice.
so much time trying to get those. So I use Tailspire for battle maps just
Mhm.
as reference. We don't have people go into it and stuff just for stream. But it is so impossible to get stuff to port over that I kind of just gave up on it and just went back to Hero Forge. So we use Hero Forge for character art and everything else. It's pretty great. And I could probably do that for hours, but I really want to make these things tangible. So I was going to make it every time a player character died, I was going to print out their character and set them up somewhere. But we haven't had any lasting deaths yet.
I may have to do that for my player character deaths. I've got, for those who don't know, on our Twitch, we have a kill list for everyone who dies. It is a very long list. And I may have to put a shelf up back there of just dead characters. And it may be a lot of fun to just put up their characters dead on the wall. It'd be a lot of fun.
It would be worth the money to license a Sarah McLachlan song just to occasionally.
What a
That
lovely
would be
shelf of
really
death.
cool. That would be
Have a little
awesome.
retrieval box across the screen.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think I might steal that idea just for the
Go for
record.
it.
I think
Yeah.
I'm going to stick a commemorative wall somewhere of dead characters. All right, man. Well, I'm going to have to go here in
Yeah.
just a few moments, but this has been a lot of fun.
This has been a
Yeah,
lot of
nice
fun.
chatting with you.
Thank you for your time. I know this was kind of on a whim. I kind of hit up John. I was like, hey, what do you do on Wednesday? So thank you so much for your time, everyone. I've learned a lot just from catching up with you guys on how to improve my game, my stream, and I feel refreshed, like going back to the game.
Good.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah, just remember, guys, listen to your players, be open, and let them have fun. Like, let them have fun is the primary thing. We're servants as GMs. That's what we do, is we serve to encourage other people to have fun. And as long as we remember that and that's our role, the players are going to have a good time.
The fun has to win over everything else. I agree.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, have a wonderful time.
Yeah, have a wonderful
All right.
time, and I'll see you around.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, chat.
Bye.
Bye.